Good day, students. Welcome to the strategic management class. We are going to be looking at strategy, risk and ethics as the total combined package for this course. We are going to start with strategy. In terms of strategy, we'll be looking at definition, which is part of the introduction. Then we are going to look at the views of schools such as a traditional school and the modern approach to strategy. Then we'll be able to bring out the definition of a corporate strategy. Now, what is strategy? Strategy can be defined as the formulation of a company's mission, setting of objectives, and the development of actions to achieve the objectives. I want you to note all these keywords. It says strategy can be defined as 1. Formulation. Formulation of company's mission, two, setting of objectives, setting of objectives, and 3, the development of actions. The development of actions to achieve the objectives. For instance, Chartered Institute of Taxation (CITN) is an organization, and their main objective, that is the goal, the mission, the vision of that organization, is to train professionals to become chartered tax practitioners. Now they will need to form a mission, which is how to carry out that vision, and they are going to set objectives, which is going to be goal of that organization. Now the strategy for the formulation of that organization's mission, the setting of the objectives, and the development of actions to achieve those objectives that are already set, is what we call strategy. A new government that is coming into power must be able to form its own mission, set out its objectives within that 4-year term, and develop actions to carry out or to achieve those objectives. All this put together is what we call a strategy. Now we have 2 schools, the traditional school and the modern school. The traditional school is otherwise known as the classical. So we are going to look at the classical school of thought in terms of strategy. That is the traditional school of thought. How the traditional school of thought view strategy. The traditional school of thought views strategy as the outcome of rational planning process. So we can put it here. This one will be B. They view strategy as the outcome of a rational planning process. Now the C part will now be the view of the modern school of thought, or we call it the modern or new approach to strategy. The modern school of thought view strategy as not always the outcome of a rational planning. So they view strategy in this way as a pattern in a stream of decision or actions. The patterns being a product of whatever intended, that is planned strategy, and any emergent, which is unplanned strategy. So that means, in their own view, strategy will not always come as a result of a rational planning process. Strategy is not a result of a rational planning process. So in their own, you can have a planned strategy, and also you can have unplanned strategy, and another name for it is called emergent strategy. Now let us look at corporate strategy based on the explanation given. Corporate strategy. How can we define for corporate strategy, or what is a corporate strategy? It is the art and science of formulating, implementing, and evaluating cross-functional decisions that enable an organization to achieve stated objectives. I repeat, corporate strategy is the art and science of formulating, implementing, and evaluating cross-functional decisions that enable an organization to achieve stated objectives or stated objectives. That is corporate strategy. Let us look at examples of corporate strategy before we can take some questions concerning what we have learned so far. Corporate strategy, we say it is the art and science of formulating, implementing, and D, evaluating cross-functional decisions. And what is the outcome of that cross-functional decision, or what will be the outcome of the corporate strategy? To enable an organization achieve a stated objective. To enable an organization achieve a stated objective. So we can put here objectives if possible. So that is corporate strategy. And when we talk about corporate, we are looking at companies as different from an individual. So the top management, or if you like, the decision makers, the directors, will formulate the strategy, and the middle managers will implement the strategy. And by the time we look at the implementation, we'll be able to what we are doing in essence is evaluating the cross-functional decision. The decision that has been taken, we now evaluate, and that one will enable the organization as a whole to achieve a stated objective or objectives. So if we are looking at a corporate strategy, each objective must have its own separate strategy. If the objective, for instance, is to raise funds from the capital market, then we are going to formulate a strategy for achieving this. We are going to implement it after the formulation, because any strategy that was formulated and was not implemented is not a strategy. Now we will now evaluate it in terms of comparing the result with the set objective, that is with the budgeted. You compare the result with the budgeted. So if there is any action to take, you'll be able to control or outright do away with such a strategy and form another one. But the essence of it is to enable an organization achieve stated objectives. Now let us look at question. Question number 1 says, the classical school. The classical school. Here, reference is being made to the views of the traditional views, or we call it the traditional school of thought view. The classical school of thought has a different view concerning strategy, briefly state their views and differentiate it from the modern views of strategy. The traditional views, or the classical school of thought, has a different view concerning strategy, briefly state their views and differentiate it from the modern views concerning strategy. The answer to the question can be stated as follows. The answer to the question can be stated as follows. Number 1, we look at the definition or the views of the classical school of thought. You have to take at least a definition from the classical school of thought, and such a definition is part of what was given, that the classical school of thought view strategy as the outcome of a rational planning process. So we can just put it like this. The classical school of thought view strategy as the outcome of a rational planning process. Then you give us the view of the modern school. The view strategy as the outcome of either planned or unplanned situation. So in their own view, strategy does not always come from a rational planning process. It can also be a result of an unplanned situation or process. So we have planned strategy and an unplanned or emergent strategy. Then the second question says, what is corporate strategy and its usefulness to a manager? Question number 2. First, we have to define corporate strategy. Then the definition, in that definition, you must state the following. That is, the following must be present. That corporate strategy is an act. Corporate strategy is an art or science. An art or science of what? Of formulating, implementing, and evaluating cross-functional decisions. And what would that do? To enable, or we say that enable the organization, to achieve stated objectives. Now let us relate all this to taxation. How can we relate strategy to taxation? Taxation is a fiscal tool that the government use to direct the economy towards a desired objective or a desired goal. So if taxation is a tool, is a fiscal tool, that means we have to form a strategy that we are going to use in terms of using taxation to direct the economy, either to increase investment or to reduce inflation, or to reduce certain consumption of goods and services. So when VAT was introduced, it was to remove the sales tax and enlarge the tax bracket to cover to cover consumptions of goods and services that cannot easily be taxed by using a direct method of taxation. Also, when the government decided to reduce the company income tax from 50 to 45%, then presently 35%, those are strategies to achieve certain objectives, and one of them is to remove the tax burden from the industry and encourage more industrialists to be able to come up with the production of goods and services. Also to reduce the cost of production, so that the price of local goods and services will be able to compare to compete favorably with the international the international markets. So all those strategies are being used in order to achieve a stated objective. Now it has to be formulated, it has to be implemented, and from time to time we will now be evaluating them in terms of tax and bringing reforms to continue to direct it towards the achievement of the objectives.